أهلا، أنا عمران دأنيش. لقد رأيتني في سيارة الإسعاف في حلب. عندما أطاحت الطيارات الجوية بمنزل عائلتي. أنا بأمان الآن. أردت أن أجيب على تساؤل شخص ما حول مشاعري عن نفسي وعن عائلتي عن طريق قول أنا بخير وأنا أحبك أيضا يا ديفيد.
We should never allow the government to decide what is acceptable speech and what is unacceptable speech. We should penalize behaviors, not opinions, and not speech. If you start trying to regulate speech, you start trying to regulate thoughts, you start trying to regulate beliefs rather than behaviors, there's no way that you're not going to abridge the constitutional rights of millions of Americans.
On Hollyburn Ridge, Vancouver, a forest ranger's 303 discharged into the air produced an audible reaction.
How many cartridges have you got, Ted? can we use these lights on? Keep one light up there. Oh, okay, go ahead. You ready? Yeah. You better stay tuned in here. He flew away. Sure? To where?
About 17 years ago, in February, approximately in February of 1951, and we were flying on a regular airline schedule between Nairobi in Kenya and Dar es Salaam in Tanganyika. And after we'd been airborne for about an hour, the co-pilot came forward out of the cockpit of the aircraft and asked all the passengers to look out of the window on the right-hand side. And there must have been about 10 passengers in the aircraft. And we looked out the window, and there, fairly close to the top of the mountain, was this bright, cigar-shaped object, just hanging in the sky. And I guess the mountain's about 19,000 feet high, and this was maybe a little higher than the mountain, maybe at about 20,000 feet. And it was shaped like a cigar, and it had a dark band on it, not quite in the center of it, maybe a little towards one end of it. And I would say that it was fairly close to the mountain because we flew for about 20 minutes, and it didn't move its position very much relative to the mountain. And I would estimate that we were about 15 miles away from the mountain itself. And there were some passengers on board who had field glasses, and I looked at it through the field glasses, and it seemed very substantial and solid, and it was just hanging suspended in the sky. And there were some tourists on board, American tourists, who took some pictures of it with a telephoto lens. And these pictures, I understand, were published in the New York papers, in the New York Sun, I think it is, though I never saw the pictures myself. And the pilot said that he checked with the local civil aviation authorities, and there were no aircraft in the sky at that time. And so we sat and watched it, and we couldn't encourage him to fly any closer to it so we could have a closer look. And then after about 20 minutes, it just took off, went up in the sky, and it was gone. And it was gone in about 5 seconds. And when we landed in Dar es Salaam, the reporters came out, and interviewed a few people. Certainly the pilot said, they had never seen anything like it before.
Soon to a theater near you, the astonishing story of a 6-year-old boy who was abducted during the summer of 1972 in Atlanta, Georgia. The book by Jay Anson has made the bestsellers list for more than 82 weeks now across the nation. Coming this Christmas in 1978 from Columbia Pictures. This film is based on true events and inspired Steven Spielberg to cast Cary Guffey in the motion picture sci-fi classic, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now the story that inspired Spielberg is coming to your theater. Get your tickets now.
It's a good time for a good time with the Three Musketeers, 'cause there's lots of fluffy new hits with the Three Musketeers. Lots of happy good time faces, open and wide, for lots of chocolate so delicious and it's happy inside. It's a good time for a good time with the Three Musketeers, the big chocolate bar that's fluffy inside.
Base control calling Quist. This is Quist. Over. An enormous mad ball of yarn is blocking all traffic in space. So it is. Turn back. Impossible! I must deliver this cargo of Quist cereal to my pals on... What? It's got him. A naughty problem. Fortunately, there's always time for a bowl of Quist cereal. Use your scrooch gun. Nope. I'm using these knitting needles instead. Knit one, purl two, knit one, purl two. Cast off, knit one, purl two, cast off, knit one, purl two. What blinding speed. He's knitting up that mad ball of yarn faster than it can unravel. There it goes. And in its place, a hand-knit necktie, 87 miles long. Yay! A good yarn, but Quake is better. Oh! Quake is best. Get the point?
Quist from Quaker.
This is WAGA, TV5 in Atlanta, Georgia.
WAGA left its temporary home at a house and moved into a new building at 1018 West Peachtree in November of 1951. And Wagga the dog, the Scotty who was the station's mascot for years, was representing a radio and television station whose custom-designed equipment was the state of the art.
Tears on straight, right where we belong. WAGA TV5, 31 years with CBS.
know whether you can see it from the TV screen, but the moon is nothing but a milky white, completely void. We're
I'd like to talk with you about a special little boy who lives in Aleppo, Syria. His name is Amran Daknish. He and his family were injured during airstrikes in Aleppo during the summer of 2016. Everyone in the world saw him, and even the presidential candidates discussed him.
The heartbreaking video of a 5-year-old Syrian boy named Amran sitting in an ambulance after being pulled from the rubble after an airstrike in Aleppo focused the world's attention on the horrors of the war in Syria, with 136 million views on Facebook alone. But there are much worse images coming out of Aleppo every day now, where in the past few weeks alone, 400 people have been killed, at least 100 of them children. Just days ago, the State Department called for a war crimes investigation of the Syrian regime of Bashar al-Assad and its ally, Russia, for their bombardment of Aleppo.
That picture of that little 4-year-old boy in Aleppo with the blood coming down his face while he sat in an ambulance is haunting.
I am asking you to remember him and his family. They should never have had to endure this. No one should. He is safe today with his family, but millions of other children are still suffering in the world today. Remember Amran. Remember his people. Remember Aleppo.
مرحبا، اسمي عمران داغنيش. كان عمري 3 سنين ونص لما ضربوا الغارات الجوية الروسية على حلب. أكيد شفتوني هديك الليلة في سيارة الإسعاف يوم 17/8/2016، واليوم أنا أفضل بكتير. أنا صورت هذا الفيديو عشان أسأل عيلتي شو اسم أمي. إذا ممكن أي شخص يساعدني أنا بقدره كتير. من فضلكم أروني شخص أحضنه زي أبويا محمد الخير، أبو علي، أخواتي رؤى وتقي وعبد الله. أنا لسه ما بعرف اسم أمي، رجاء ساعدوني في معرفته. أحب كل من يهتم بي وما زال يريد أن يعرف كيف هي عائلتي في حلب. لن أنسى أبدا لطفكم. مع السلامة.
tell you that this country isn't great, that somehow we need to make it great again, because this right now is the greatest country on earth.
This is your president. In the past 10 years, I have fooled all of you into believing the socialist ideology of everyone is equal. How? By making everyone believe the lie and having destroyed our nation's sovereignty. Through communism, we will all be a unified global government of acceptance by making everyone have the same thing. You won't be an American. You won't be a citizen anymore. You will be the same as your dog, your neighbors in Mexico. If all have nothing, then all will be equal. That is the purpose of socialism. You are nothing unless the government tells you who or what you are. Don't pretend you don't know what I've been doing. I brainwashed you through high-definition television. You are truly the walking dead. If I told you to give up your freedoms, you would. But it's already happened, so I don't need to keep convincing you. You all are vegetables now anyway. Oh, by the way, if you can't see that I'm the Antichrist, then there's no reason anymore to tell you what must be done next, because you'll be hunted down with the Christians and exterminated for not believing me, not accepting who I am. I'm your Messiah, your Imam Mahdi. April 23rd, 2018, I told the world, but it wasn't time yet to bring out who I am. So the conspiracy must continue against Trump until that is accomplished. The rapture must happen first. Remember always that I made narcotics legal. I made every kind accessible. I made this addicted nation a reality through suicide, overdoses, you name it. I did that. Ever wonder how I control everything you see and hear? I own the media. I have since I took over in 2009. I laugh when I see Republicans standing next to each other without a word. They can't. I control what they see, what they hear. Want truth, facts? Forget it. I am your whole world now. If life means anything today, it won't under the global system I've initiated since I became president in 2009. My legions accept whatever I tell them to do. You will too, or you'll be hunted down with the rest and exterminated. It's as simple as that. Accept and obey, or resist and die. I am your hope for tomorrow. I am your president. There is only one outcome: world domination. Either you'll accept me or be taken out. It's time to take a stand for one or the other. Me or freedom and liberty. Remember Adolf Hitler, freedom is a lie. Enslavement is acceptance.